Hey everybody, Bobbie Z here with another episode of Wiggin Out with Bobbie Z. I think I decided that Wednesdays are going to be the days that I upload things. I think because Weave Wednesday or Wiggy Wednesday, something like that. I'll think of a tagline later and then start like a hashtag revolution or something with it. I don't know. But today we're going to talk about all the different types of wigs that you can buy. Now, first things first, I have a lot of people ask me where I get my wigs when I buy wigs. Um, I buy them all over the place. I order them online. I have a wholesaler that I deal with because I'm licensed and everything, so I can get wholesale prices on things. There's a wholesale district in New York City where I go, and a lot of times I just go to normal wig stores and I just look at their sales section and I find stuff that I like there, and then I give it a weave and I do whatever and I make it crazy. So that's first things first. The first I'm going to show you is what I call a machine back, a wefted back, or a ladder back. It depends. They're called a million things, or a hard front. Basically, this. Just a wig that you find at the wig store that has the wefting that goes this way and the ribbons that go up and down. Now, most of them will have lace in the top, not a wig lace, but they'll have actual lace. You can see the lace pattern. We'll have a lace here, and they'll have a mesh on either side. I've seen wigs where the mesh goes all the way across. I've seen wigs where the mesh stops here. I've seen wigs where there's no mesh. Some that don't have any ribbons, they have all mesh. There are some that have an even number of ribbons. There are some that have an odd number of ribbons. They're all different. Every brand is different. Every manufacturer is different. Every wig is pretty much different. Whenever I go to the wig store, the ladies that work there always think that I'm crazy until I tell them what I do, because I'm always like, oh, can I see that wig on the shelf? And they're like, yeah, sure. And they bring it down on the head, and I snatch it off the head, and I like turn it inside out, and I'm looking at it and everything. And they're like looking at me like in horror, and I'm like, sorry, I want to see how it's made. I want to see how much hair is sewn into it. I want to see how the top of it's made. Sorry. Most people just don't do that. Most people say, oh, I like the bangs, I like the angle in the front, let me buy it. Whereas for me, I always look on the inside. I look to see how it's constructed. I look to see the scalp. I look to see how much hair's in it. This blonde wig is also a very good example of what a skin top looks like. I know if you buy wigs online or if you buy wigs in the store, sometimes it'll say skin top, top skin, skin part, mono top, lace top. And if you don't really know anything about hair, you just want to buy a wig, you're kind of like, what? What does that mean? So a skin top is like this. If you look at the top of the wig, this is an old Maryland wig of mine. If you look at the top of the wig and you pull the hair aside, it looks like it's growing out of a scalp. Basically what it is it's a very soft, rubbery plastic. Basically what they make a Barbie head out of, and it's the same thing as a Barbie head. They punch the hair into it and they glue it on the bottom. And that is how you get the nice natural look to it. And you can also tell if it's a skin top or not by turning the wig inside out. So this is what I call a full skin top, which means it is from side to side and it goes back. As you can see, this is much wider of a skin top, whereas this is only about half, maybe even a third of the entire top of it, and the rest of it is filled in with wefting. These are okay. As you can see, I did buy one and front it, but it's mainly because it was the only human hair wig that my manufacturer had in the color that I wanted. Usually, if I'm going to buy a wig, I prefer to buy a full skin top. That is because you can put the part anywhere along the front and it's fine. The thing that I don't like about a side skin part is that you're stuck with the part on the side where it is. You can't flip it. You can't put it in the middle. Sometimes you can't even pull all the hair back just because of how the top of it's made. So I always try to go for a full skin top. What a skin coin is the skin is just here in the top because the bangs fall. These are all wefted. You really only need that skin right at the top part where the hair swirls. Hence why a skin coin. These are probably the least versatile of any wig you could ever buy is a skin coin. I mean, they're great for bobs and everything, but if you buy a bob and you maybe want to make it a little longer or turn it into a really long wig, or if you have an old bob that you want to build maybe an updo onto, they're really not versatile enough to do multiple things except if it all hangs forward. It's the same, again, as a normal wig with the ribbons going up and down, except this one does not have a skin top or a skin coin or anything at all. This is all just wefting. You can see here, if I turn it inside out, this is kind of like a short little gym teacher kind of wig. If you look at the top of it, it's all just wefting, and you can see the wefting. If you part it severely, you'll see the wefting in it. Although I really do like a wefted top, mainly for theater and mainly for drag wigs, because you, especially for drag wigs, since the entire thing is made of wefting, you can add hair to the entire wig. You can add lowlights, you can add highlights, you can add length, you can add anything. Whereas when you have a wig with a skin top, unless you want to sew through the skin top, which I've done, doesn't look so great. You're basically only adding volume, length, color, anything to the perimeter area, and the part on the wig will kind of stay the exact color that it is. Again, wefted tops, probably my favorite for theatrical and drag purposes because they're versatile and they're very easy to add hair to. However, very rare to find, especially in long. They're usually very short, about this length or shorter. A lot of men's wigs or men's pieces are made with a wefted top, but I occasionally will see them in a longer style. It's very rare. Now this wig is very interesting. I actually just bought this last week because I bought one 2 years ago, and I've since added a lace front to it. And I've been looking for another one because I liked, especially if I'm going to build something with a lace front, I like to have two in case I ever do a show where a person has to have multiple wigs, or if I do a sideshow where I need duplicates of everything, something like that. I always try to look for two. So I found another one. So yay me. This wig is very interesting because it's by a company called It's a Cap. Basically, what this wig is it simulates a weave. So the hair is sewn in a circular pattern through the top, as you can see. The wig doesn't have a skin top. The wig doesn't have a part or anything into it. It comes to a swirl like a traditional sew and weave would. It does have a perm, and it has a nice little curly texture to it. It does hold styling extremely well. It holds roller sets so firm. It lasts. It's very great. Their hair is also very, very soft and manageable. The other one I've had for about 2 years now, and even if I tease it up really big and then wash it without brushing it out, the hair hardly tangles at all. One thing I don't like about it is that because it is constructed like a weave and because it is constructed in the circular pattern, it's not really versatile as styling and customization because the part can't really be moved because it's always going to be on that side, and the hair in the front is always going to come forward. But beautiful hair, really like it, really manageable, and this wig retails for about $45. I got mine for $25, which was about half off because it was the last one they had in the store. This is called a mono top or a monofilament top. Now, these generally are more expensive than a skin top or a wefted top, and that is because a lot of manufacturers will have the mono top hand tied. However, if you feel mono lace and you feel street quality wig store lace front lace, they feel exactly the same, and that's because they are. The wig will say a million different kinds of lace that it's not. It is, if it's hard and rigid, your lace front is made out of monofilament lace. Sorry, they lied to you. So this is what a monofilament top looks like. Very similar to a deep front because it is tied and you can part it anywhere. And it gives you a very natural looking part. When you front a monotop wig, they're the most beautiful things ever because that part just blends from that front hairline all the way back. You don't get a line of demarcation from the skin top or from the wefting or anything. It just blends right out beautifully. I love them. You can also ventilate into them. It is a little more difficult to ventilate on a monotop than it is to ventilate on a fronting lace because it is much smaller and it's much more rigid, but you can easily add lowlights and highlights by tying them in versus having to color them in. Next is what I call a hand-tied front. Now this is when you take an existing wig, such as, this, like a store-bought wig, and you leave the top intact, and you basically just cut off the front edge, and you add lace, and you ventilate hair into it to make it into a lace front. So as you can see, it is just a wig, and I just cut some of the top and the side out, and you can see that's my lace. And there's only about maybe an inch of hairline ventilated into this wig, because it, again, was for theatrical purpose. This is a wig that I built for a musical that I designed this past year called Bedbugs, a sci-fi thriller rock musical. Yes, that's the title. This was made for one of the lead women. With this wig was I bought a human hair wig in a 27, which is a strawberry blonde. I then purchased 2 additional packs of wefting in a 27. And I separated the packs into 3 equal piles. One I kept the natural color. One I dyed a bright, vibrant red. The other one I dyed a more subdued, darker auburn color. Then what I did was I took the existing wig and I took my thinning shears and I thinned the crap out of it. Now, with my drag wigs, I don't do that. I just add the hair in as it is because I want it to be as thick and as full as possible. However, if you're adding hair to add color or add length to a wig that you're going to be wearing every day, or a wig that's not supposed to kind of look big and thick and fake like a drag queen, you really want to thin the crap out of the existing wig. When you add all the hair to it, there isn't going to be a lot of bulk left in the wig for you to counteract with the length. Also, it helps you blend out the shorter layers through the top. This wig, as you can see the different colors of red throughout it. You can see some lighter colors, you can see some darker. This wig was a skin top, so what I did was, after I thinned it out, while I was processing the wefted hair, I went through and I foiled lowlights with the same colors into the top of the wig because it is a side skin part. So I knew that the skin part was going to show, and I wanted it to blend out with the rest of the wig. I then laid my lace, I tied hair into the front of the wig, and then I got this really great, beautiful strawberry blonde blend. I also call this my enchanted wig. Next is what I like to call a deep front wig, and this is more of a theatrical thing than a fashion thing. They're called a deep front because it is a normal stretch back wig like you could buy at a store, except you cut the top off of it and you add lace and you tie hairs. This is a wig that I started making about a year ago that I still haven't finished yet. So I have the top of it done. You can see all the hairs that I've tied. And then I also have the very, 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 very front hairline done as well. As you can see here, I have the front hairline done. But the rest of it, like the sides and everything, are bald, and it pretty much only has hair right here. The great thing about a deep front wig is that you can part it pretty much anywhere in the top. You can't put it really in a high ponytail or in pigtails in the back unless you do some strategic styling, but all the power to you if you can do that. I really like deep fronts because it is a much cheaper option, especially in a theatrical setting. It's a much cheaper option than having a full lace wig. However, to build a deep front takes forever. Like I said, I started building this thing almost a year ago, and I still haven't finished it. And it probably took me about 3 or 4 hours just to tie all of those hairs on. I'm going to talk about a type of wig that I have a love-hate relationship with. Now, this is what I call a street quality or a wig store lace front. Now, I'm sure that you've seen these, and they have they're usually a machine back like this, but they have the lace in the front, except the thing about these is that the lace is always very stiff. Like, it's so stiff, it holds its shape like that. Whereas if you see a lace front like this, how the lace will bend and fall because it's nice and soft. This is wig making lace, and this is not. So these are very they're very hard, and I know like they can itch, especially these knots. If they're up, if you wear it for long enough, they can itch. I mean, they are great because you can get them as cheap as 20 bucks for a synthetic one, and they have their purpose. I don't really think that they're great, but sometimes you need a lace front and you need it real quick, and 20 bucks will get you one. The lace is almost always dark. I've found a handful of ones that aren't dark, that have a lighter lace, because I am very pale. So if I were to wear this, as you'll see now, you can see the lace against my skin because it's dark. Am I discouraging you from buying these things and wearing these things? No. Can I clock them from 2 blocks away? Yes. When I think of a full lace wig, I think of something that's made entirely of lace and it's entirely hand tied, meaning that the hairs are individually added hair by hair, strand by strand to the base of the wig. This is a wig I bought on eBay probably about 6 years ago, and I bought it before I knew how to take care of a full lace wig and everything, so it kind of looks like crap because I cut pieces out of it and tried to make it bigger. That's the one thing about a full lace wig, is that it's not adjustable, it doesn't stretch, it'll be the size that you make it. So this is what a full lace wig looks like on the inside. So the wig is turned inside out. So you can see there are multiple pieces of lace that make it up. You can see there's a couple holes in it. Like I said, I've had this a couple years and I use this a lot in shows. This is human hair, so it's pretty thick, you can see, and it's completely hand tied. Like if you look closely, you can see all of those little tiny black dots. Those are hairs, so they're all individually tied. I love full lace wigs because you can part them anywhere and they fall very naturally because it's not falling in a straight line like a weft normally would. It's dispersed naturally like normal hair would be. You can also part it anywhere. You can put it in pigtails, you can do anything, and you won't get the ladder lines of a normal wig. They're made exactly to size. So you do a head bubble or a head tracing and they're made exactly to size. Now, this wig was only maybe $200 on eBay. The hair isn't great quality. It tangles up usually when I wash it. So I try not to do anything too insane with this wig because I know that trying to wash it is a pain. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in and watching my video. I really appreciate it. Feel free to check out my eBay store where I'm currently selling a couple drag queen wigs that I did that I'm very proud of. So if you want to buy some really cool drag hair, check this out. If you want to add me on Instagram, check that out. In the meantime, I hope you have fun, and I'll see you next week. Bye.